Okay, and we are live. So let's do this in 3, 2, 1.
Hello? Are you ready? Then we'll begin.
We celebrated the halfway point this past weekend, Laetare Sunday. So come on along and see how many homilies we have and on which scriptures they're on. This is Monday Morning Catholic, episode number 109. Mercy on us, have mercy on us. Send down your mercy to set us free. This is one of my favorite pieces for Lent, Father Fran O'Brien's Mercy, O God. Great piece. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Monday Morning Catholic Podcast. I am your host and moderator, Joanne Mercier, and it's Ladies' Day today. So it's Laetare. It was Laetare Sunday, so let's have a little fun music here. Everybody's dancing. And she's back from vacation, and she decided to come back early and join us. Nancy Smith, St. Teresa's St. Christopher's Parish in Tiverton, Rhode Island. Good morning, Nancy. How you doing?
I'm good, Joanne. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Linda.
And, of course, she's always here. And halfway through Lent without, doing something crazy. It's Linda Reed, St. Thomas Parish in Providence, Rhode Island. Good morning, Linda. How you doing?
You don't know that I haven't done something crazy. So
that's very true, Linda. You keep her on target now.
This is true because I wasn't there this week.
Right.
Usually I do know.
But, I'm doing fine. Thank you very much, Joanne.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. So we're halfway through Lent, and everybody is still upright.
Yes.
That is very good. Except Stephen, who was supposed to be here.
Yes, he's down for the count, looks like.
Down for the count. Yeah, and Jason, we have to say, Jason had Steve Agrizzano this
That's right. He's very busy.
So he probably is down for the count as well.
Yes. That would be very busy.
Yes. Saw pictures on Facebook. It looked like everything went well, so let's hope.
Good.
We've all had the, people who come in from out of town.
And and how many people show up.
Right. Or how many times, where we have to take them, or if they're staying at our house, or, take them out to dinner.
Yes.
We've all done this.
Which is, and it's, most of the time it's not a problem. The times that I've had to do it, it's been actually very pleasant.
It's just extra stuff.
I haven't encountered anybody yet.
And she says, yet.
Yes, but I haven't really that I've been responsible for. Oh, there goes my phone. I'm sorry. I haven't encountered
not me
yet. No, it's mine.
Yeah, glad it's you and not me this time.
I'm sorry.
The only thing is I left the phone on the desk.
Yeah, well.
I didn't get rid of it before we started.
Give her a call, Linda.
Yeah.
There!
No, my husband's on the phone right now.
That's not nice. That's not nice. Well, how was your vacation, Nancy?
Excellent. The last Sunday when we were in St. Augustine, Florida, we looked at the temperature outside and looked at the temperature at home. And from Massachusetts to Florida, there was 4 degrees difference. But beautiful weather all week, and it warmed up starting Monday and such. It was very pleasant.
Oh,
very nice place to vacation. We did got to see the cathedral down there, which was phenomenal. And
an interesting story / question about the cathedral down there. Correct?
No, it wasn't about the cathedral. It was about our hotel had a Catholic church across the street.
Okay. All right.
So would you like me to share that now then?
Please.
Please.
You have
Okay.
your feedback, please.
Please. I tried to leave it as feedback last week, but I failed. So here we
No,
go.
probably the website failed, but
The church's name was Prince of Peace Votive, Votive, Votive Catholic Church. I'm going, what the heck is a votive Catholic Church? So I did some research, and what I could find is a church belonging to the Diocese of St. Augustine, and it is one of about 2 or 3 churches across the country listed as votive. And what I understand is that it was built in Thanksgiving for peaceful resolution. It was built in 1965 as in Thanksgiving for a peaceful resolution to the Cuban Missile Crisis. That I think was 62, but I'm guessing on the year, so don't hold me to that, folks.
I think it's 60. I think you're right. It's 61 or 62.
61, 62. And so it's votive is usually for a special intention, as my understanding goes. So that is what this church, it's a church that was built with a special intention in mind in Thanksgiving. And so that was something new for me. I had never heard about a votive Catholic church at all. And of course.
And you said how many of them are there in this country?
According to one of there's not a lot on the internet that I could find. And I had a little trouble with the internet where we stayed, so I was going in and out. I want to say 2, 3, 4, very low number across the country. And but this was one of them, and I never got a chance to get in because we chose to attend Mass at the cathedral, which was down the street and in downtown, and just a beautiful, magnificent building. And then daily they had a Mass at this votive church across from the hotel at 6 p.m. Oh, so to say the least, at 6 p.m. we weren't usually in an ability to attend Mass, so I never got a chance to get in. But it's a typical architecture of 62 that you would find in most churches. We got there in the first 2 days. There's a huge lot and back lot next to this church, and it was the cathedral fair all weekend.
Wow.
And I have never seen the amount of people, foot traffic, car traffic. Just to get in, an adult was charged $5. They had all sorts of adult rides, kids rides. I mean, it was big. It was very big. And so that was between the votive church and seeing the cathedral, which it was a treat. It was a very nice weekend last weekend. But the votive church was a learning experience for me. I'd never heard of it before.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it before either.
Nope.
Same here.
And I just.
Same here.
And I'm looking at the sign that Saturday afternoon. We're walking by it. I'm going, votive church, you know, and something just won't leave you. And now it's in the core, and I have to go back and check out.
Yeah.
And,
it's the liturgical, you know.
Right.
It sticks to your head like, I should know this.
I should know this, but I've never. And everything came up as, do you mean votive candle? Every time I Google it, do you mean votive candle? No, votive church.
That's what I mean, yes.
Ooh.
So.
Well, you remember, Google is not the best source for Catholic information.
It's the one that right now I am very used to, how it gives its results and what the results are and stuff. So yeah, I haven't gotten used to Bing yet.
I will not get used to Bing because Bing brings up way too much stuff.
Yeah.
And
Google is my comfort zone right now. So.
Well, I'm the queen of Google. So
I was going to say Google is my comfort zone too. I have tried Bing, but for some reason I'm just really comfortable with Google.
I've noticed on my Windows 7, that that Bing is the default search. I have to go to Google.com to use it.
Well, you can change that.
Well, that's good to know because I would like to. So I'll go up there and play with it tomorrow when I get back to work.
You can change that in the settings.
Okay. My computer guru, I've missed having her around.
Yes.
Sorry. I'm just working with her. No. I've little things like that. I enjoy learning. But anyway.
That's all right. I'm teaching a quick Evernote class for my staff this week.
Here's what I've just bought. Can you guys see it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
All right, Nancy.
There you go. If you don't know, consult the dummy books.
So,
Yeah.
because I know nothing about Windows 10, and one of the computers at work has it on it, and she'll say, "Can you help me with this?" And I'll look at something that looks so foreign to me. Not yet.
Windows 10 is way better than Windows 8.
I understand that,
Okay.
but it looks so different. So it's one of those things I have to sit down and teach.
It shouldn't, because you can make it look like 7. So
And it's a matter of getting in and knowing how to do that. So
exactly. I have Windows 10 and it looks like 7 to me.
and so that's one of the things that I've got to learn is how to make it look like I want it to look. So
Exactly.
I bought the Windows 10 for Dummies.
There you go.
There we go.
These books are great.
I don't
Yep.
have any windows.
She's a Mac person.
Yes.
Hey,
Well, I've got the Mac Pro book is in the kitchen. So
great. Well, I need to ask this one. Is the iPad Pro going to make its debut for Holy Week or what?
No, no, probably not.
Oh, come on.
did you get a
No.
Pro?
Holy
You got a
Week.
Pro?
I got a Pro for Christmas. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, somewhere
Um,
along the line I missed that.
You did.
I did, yeah.
It's only good if you use it, though.
Yeah. Well, I've been using it as my iPad.
Oh,
I no, Holy Week is just it's just too many things can go awry.
mhm.
That I just want to be again in my comfort zone. I don't want to try something new for Holy Week.
Start this summer. Use it this summer for your
Yes.
music and such,
Use it
and,
for
and
ordinary
work your
time.
way into it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I can do it.
I
'Cause
thought.
I bought the hymnals. You know, I have the GIA hymnals already in it. I'm just afraid.
There's so much I could say on that.
I know. It was like this morning. We were doing the mash of Amazing Grace and Open My Eyes, Lord,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
the guitar version is about 12 pages long. And
Yes.
so I have this thing out on my music stand. It's hanging over both sides of my music stand, and I'm trying to read through it, and it's like, it's a good thing I don't have the iPad today.
And I'm the way she's describing it, I'm just sitting here going, and if you have the iPad,
No.
it's really easy.
And you could, but you got to get the foot thing, right, Joanne?
Yeah, you got to get the
To
foot
turn the
thing.
pages.
Yes.
Sometimes the foot thing will stutter, so I've learned how to.
Yeah, that's all I need.
And that's what Linda's talking about.
Yes. It'd just be just my luck and stutter in the middle of Good Friday, you know?
Yeah, that could be painful. Could be painful. Well, there's not going to be anything painful here this week because we look back at the previous weekend's liturgies and try to make some sense. And again, we're in the second of 3 weeks of double your pleasure, double your fun,
Yes, ma'am.
scripture readings, both for Cycle C and for Cycle A, for those of you doing our CIA scrutiny. So, and of course, the voice of the people, again, it doesn't actually confound us this week, but I will say this much. If I put something up on a Sunday for Voice of the People and it goes through the roof, we're waiting until the next week to deal with it.
Yes.
And here's why. Because nobody else gets a chance to read it.
Yeah.
You're all reading it, it's great, but the panelists are not.
We're all busy on Sunday morning.
Yeah, I'm busy. So the one that's going through the roof right now will have to wait till next week, unless something else goes through the roof and knocks it over. But that's the fun of Voice of the People.
Yes.
I love small things amuse small minds. I watch it all week. So anyway, speaking of small minds, let's get to what everybody comes here for.
You hear what I hear.
Do you hear what I hear for the fourth Sunday in the Lenten season? If you were doing the Cycle A readings, you were listening to, of course, the scriptures, 1 Samuel 16 with the anointing of David. You know, is it this son of Jesse? Is it this? No, it's not that one. It's not that.
I like it when he says Jesse presents him with 7 sons, and
Yeah.
Samuel says, Is this all the sons you have?
Yeah, really. This
Like,
it?
you should have many more. You know?
Like you should have 20 more.
Yeah.
That's true. But it's always it's a good lesson on, the most obvious is not
Yeah.
sometimes the one the Lord anoints.
Yes.
Psalm 23 would have been your proper psalm of the day. The Lord is my shepherd.
Which
And-
we did not do because we do a common psalm for Lent.
Right. But any of the 2,975 versions of that psalm have been,
It would have sufficed.
would have sufficed in any way, shape, or form. Ephesians 5, which is the lovely Awake, O Sleeper.
Yeah.
The only one I have going through my head is Marty Haugen.
Yes.
See what happens when you've been doing it for years and years.
Yes.
And John 9 was the gospel with the man born blind. Full version or shortened version?
Full.
Yes. Thank you. So we get the whole pool and we get the mother and
Yes, we get the pool of Siloam and the whole bit.
and what's wrong with your parents and
Yes. His parents threw him right under the bus.
yeah, real. Seriously.
It's like, he's old enough.
And then you have the prodigal son, which they didn't.
Right.
Ask him.
I mean,
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
yeah.
Yes.
So those were the cycle A readings. Now,
That's
if
right.
you were not in the RCIA frame of mind, we were doing the cycle C readings, which was Joshua's fifth chapter. The fifth. Yeah, let's just roll that back one more time. The fifth chapter of Joshua, which was actually odd because all it talks about is there's no more manna.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay,
Okay.
I get that,
And it's
but
followed by taste and see.
right, exactly, which is followed by the Psalm 34, taste and see. So there's no more manna
Not anymore.
because you don't need it anymore, apparently. And I'm like, okay,
Okay.
it's just an odd
Yeah.
configuration. 2 Corinthians 5 was the second reading. Whoever
Whoever is.
Christ is a new creation.
Yeah.
And then Luke 15, Gospel, the prodigal son, which everyone has heard millions of
Yes.
times.
Unless you're in an RCIA parish,
And-
you never get to hear it.
That's true. You would never get to hear that.
That actually does come up again in the year of Luke. But
It comes up a couple of times.
yeah, it comes
Right.
up in the year of Luke.
But
Even
right
if you
now,
don't.
but right now it's in that trilogy of the fig tree, the
Yeah.
prodigal son, and then there's one I'm trying to remember what next week's
It's
is.
the woman in adultery.
Woman in adultery. All right. No. Yes, it is. I'm sitting there going, yeah. See, I'm so confused.
No,
I'm
yeah.
like, readings as well, so it's
I
like
don't know.
I'm between the two.
We are mostly an acycle parish.
Right. So you have no idea.
So it's really hard to keep track of the other cycles.
Yeah, well, now I'm going to look because I have to do that because the liturgist in me is screaming, you really should know
You
this.
really should check this out.
Yeah, it is the woman in adultery.
I thought so.
Very good. You get the gold star for,
Yeah. For knowledge of the lectionary.
yep. Very good. Thank you. All right, so we actually have 2 homilies for cycle C and 1 homily for cycle A. So would cycle A like to go first?
Would you like to start with cycle A? I can
Well,
cycle us right up.
First letter in the alphabet.
Okay.
That.
So we are in the midpoint of our Lenten journey, says Father John. And the church gives us Laetare Sunday, which means rejoice. So why are we rejoicing? Maybe because we are already halfway through Lent, or it is anticipation of the joys of Easter, or for those in the RCIA process, it is that much closer to baptism and or full reception into the church. Today we have beautiful readings that speak of seeing in the way God sees. In our first reading from the book of Samuel, we see that Samuel is told by God to see as God sees, not at the appearance of others, but into their hearts. And this is out of the homily. I always wondered why they felt compelled to, at the end of the reading, to say that David was ruddy and a youth handsome to behold,
Yeah.
when you're supposed to be looking into the heart, you know. But anyway,
We digress.
that was just my aside there.
Okay.
Not at the appearance of others, but into their hearts. Paul tells, and then he went on to talk about the accession to the Father's goods in sons, and that the first son is usually the one that gets everything. So when Eliab is rejected, it's like, what? Not the first son? And it's eventually the last son that God has chosen. Paul tells the people of Ephesus that they need to be children of the light to see the ways in which they can turn from sin and darkness and turn back to God, the God of mercy and light. And of course, in our gospel today, we have the wonderful encounter of Jesus with the man born blind, and how he not only helps him to physically see, but also helps him to see with the eyes of faith. Now, what does that mean, to see with the eyes of faith? First of all, we have to stop seeing the appearance of others and try to look into the heart. In this beautiful year of mercy, more than ever, we are called to be people of forgiveness, to do our best to see the good in one another. And that requires us to look beyond what they look like, be it the color of their skin, the shape of their eyes, the color of anything else. We are called to look beyond that into the hearts of people. Today, on this Laetare Sunday, we are called to rejoice by seeing, we are called to rejoice in seeing the way God sees, to be people who offer forgiveness and mercy as opposed to judgment and condemnation. Now, we all know this is easy to say, and we also all know how difficult this is to put into practice. It means opening our hearts more to Christ, to the one who came to forgive us our sins and to help us live life to the full. Just as the members of our RCIA process prepare to receive their sacraments, so we too are called to reflect upon the living out of our baptism, where we became children of the light. May our Lenten journey give us the courage to be children of the light that we are called to be, and to see with the eyes of faith. For when we do this, then we can indeed truly rejoice.
Ah, very nice.
Yes.
Ties right into what you all are doing.
Yes.
And I've been missing because I'm playing.
Yeah, the scrutiny that we did, the second scrutiny this morning, it's very moving because she is a very serious candidate for baptism, and she and her husband, it just, it makes it all the more effective when you see the effect that the rite has on the elect. So.
Yeah, people do not really understand the power,
Yeah.
power of the rite of Christian initiation.
Yeah.
It's then sometimes it's not the rite's fault. Sometimes it gets muted.
It does, and that's why I suggested that we chant the petitions for the during the scrutiny.
Yeah.
To kind of set them apart from regular prayer of the faithful. And that seems to work really well.
Right, because we at St. Thomas sing the response to that every week.
While the lector reads the petition, and then they are invited in by the cantor to sing the response. But I sang the petitions themselves this time, and they were short enough that they could be sung.
Good.
So,
it's always helpful.
Yes.
They don't run on and on.
It's not a Bible history.
Thank you, Jesus. Well, good.
But anyway,
that
tied in nicely, and his message was basically to see with the eyes of faith.
And I like how a lot of these homilists are kind of getting all of that Year of Mercy stuff in.
Yes, yes. Well, we had talked about this at staff meeting, and it's like, okay, you know, I can do a song. We can do the song throughout the year for the Year of Mercy, and it's good if we talk about it. That, you know, otherwise people will just forget it.
They will.
You know,
They
it's like,
will.
what is Year of Mercy? You know, so every once in a while we'll bring the song out and sing the song, and it's mentioned a lot in the Prayer of the Faithful and in the homilies.
And we just had a very successful 24 hours of mercy
Nice.
in the Archdiocese of Boston.
Actually, we did too. Our deanery had it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had it also.
I didn't see
They
much
had confessions for 24 hours.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I didn't see much about it in Providence, but then again,
No, but they had it because they had it at St. Augustine's, and priests from all over the deanery came and sat in the confessionals.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think they had 1 or 2 churches in each deanery,
Yeah,
and then the priests of that deanery held staff.
yeah.
yeah, we did basically the same thing. Although I don't know where my pastor got the guys from. I don't know, because there were 6 in each region. There were 6 churches.
Aha.
So I don't know. He had the graveyard shift. He had 2 to 6.
Oh, gee.
But
Graveyard shift.
But
24 hours, you said?
Yeah, 24 hours.
yep. That's you know, they were serious about it. That was the whole thing. And we had adoration, and they had a slideshow going on. Sometimes it had music, sometimes it didn't, for people all through the night.
Yeah.
You know, so it was really well thought out.
Good.
So so at least we're tying. I like it as a liturgist when we can tie things together, and they don't just live in their own little pods.
Right, right.
So that's what I like about it.
Well, the interesting thing too about this particular gospel in the A cycle was, and Father John didn't point it out, but I couldn't help but see that, is that the religious authorities had no mercy whatsoever. And neither did the blind man's parents. It's like, just throw him under the bus, you know. We're not talking, we're not going to say anything. You ask him. He's old enough to talk for himself.
He can talk for himself. We didn't do anything.
We didn't do anything, yeah. So there were a lot
me.
of people in that reading who did not show any mercy.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Holy Father was correct in taking this year,
Yeah.
because the A cycle lends itself to it, plus the C cycle does.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, the prodigal son, yeah.
Prodigal son is huge.
Yep.
Let's see, what did you hear from your neck of the woods?
Me? I didn't know if you were I didn't know if you were keeping both A's together. That's all.
No, hers is C.
I've got C.
Oh, you got C. I've got C.
Right.
Okay. Very good. Okay.
Go for
I
it.
misunderstood. I'm sorry, folks. I'm just visiting.
That's okay. We'll be here all week.
Okay. All right. Our pastor talked about the prodigal son, and he pulled in mercy, the reconciliation type of idea from Lent and the Year of Mercy, talking about looking at the prodigal son and saying most of us look at the second son, the youngest son, who didn't ask for everything and feels left out at the end of the whole story by the guy who took everything and left and then came back, is now getting even more in his eyes. And he says, and most of us as children will relate to that better than we can relate to being the prodigal son coming back. But once we get to be parents, or if we are parents at this point, we relate more to the Father and the forgiveness and what it actually means to have, figuratively and maybe in reality, having something that you've lost or something that was dead in your thoughts come back. And talking strongly about the relationship of Father, whether it's God the Father, Father, those of us who are fathers who have children, and what it means in the forgiveness and the love and all of that goes along with that. And I'm listening to him, but I'm also watching. I didn't have to minister today, so I got a chance to be in the assembly, and I got a chance to watch as he's talking about fathers and the father's arms going around their kids' shoulders and patting them on the head and smiling at them and being able to have these children relate to their father, God the Father who forgives, the Father who is talked about in the scriptures, and I think Father wove it together very, very well on a very human level, so that no matter what direction you were coming from in your life, you were able to see the mercy and the forgiveness that is available to all of us, and the love of God that's never ending and always there.
Oh wow!
Very nicely done, and so it was a very human, very moving piece, and he threw a little humor in as a Polish-born priest. He talked about when he went back to visit a priest friend of his in Croatia, and he was staying at the rectory with this priest, and at this parish, the church has a level roof, so you could go up on top of the roof. And he said, I went up there in the evening to say my evening prayers and such, and he said it gave me an opportunity, a vantage point to see into the next yard. He said, and light, he says, I looked over, and he says, now I grew up on a farm. He says, I grew up with farm animals. He says, and this was the biggest pig, the biggest sow that was over there that I'd ever seen in my whole life.
Oh my goodness!
And he said, and you saw the scraps. This is how the pig ate.
Oh.
And he said all he could think of was the story of the prodigal son, because this is what the prodigal son wasn't even getting the scraps such as this to eat. And so he says, every time this reading comes up and such, I think of that pig that was so well fed. Yeah. And so he got people. But again, it's a way to relate to bringing the reality into this story of teaching. And so yeah, he did a very fine job of bringing the whole scripture down to a level that we could very easily understand and relate to, and even the children. So it was very well done.
Good. See, that's the hallmark of a good homily, where it goes across the generation.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Now, I'm sort of freelancing the next couple of weeks, sort of helping people go on vacation or take some time off or do what they need to do.
Are you in New Bedford, Joanne?
I was in New Bedford
last
weekend. Next week I go to Mansfield.
Oh, jeez.
Week after that I go to North Attleboro.
She's everywhere.
That music book will travel.
With the Massachusetts circuit right now.
Yes.
I will be home for Holy Week.
Thank you.
Yeah, am I doing more than we have to discuss that if I'm doing more masses now than I was supposed to?
Yeah, that could be.
That
We may put you back on for Holy Thursday.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. Anybody now, just give me the music.
Just give me the music. Yeah, okay.
I'm back to where I need to be. So the homilies I get and I listen to are, and I do like to pay attention to them, because now of doing the podcast and not, especially when you're in a loft situation, tuning out for about 10 minutes or catching some Z's when no one can see you. Did I just give that away? So, sorry about that. Yeah, what the heck. But this particular homily, the minute I heard it on Saturday night, I was like, ooh, I like that. So I asked the pastor, another Father John.
Yeah.
I said, would you mind? He said, oh, you can have it after the 11 o'clock Mass. So he gave me his copies.
All right.
Cool.
And in the effort of full disclosure, said to me, I go on the internet and look for stuff. So
who doesn't?
Who does? I looked at him. I said, yeah, who doesn't? Yeah. I said, you don't have to, subscribe to those homily helps anymore. It's all out there somewhere.
We started we start a staff meeting with a prayer every time, and when we say to Father, our Father John, "Oh, this was nice. Where did you get it?" Off the internet.
There you go. The internet is good for a lot of things.
Yes.
So this was a very interesting take on the prodigal son.
Okay.
So here we go. The parable of the prodigal son is one of the best known stories in all of human literature. But what does it really mean? We call it the parable of the prodigal son, but should we? Is it primarily about that younger son who abandons his father and squanders his life in extreme self-indulgence and such sensuality? Jesus told the parable to tax collectors and sinners, but also to Pharisees and scribes. In fact, he told it in response to some of their questions. Now, the Pharisees and scribes were considered the experts in religion, the ones who avoided sin and followed the law perfectly. They were like the other brother in the parable, the older brother. So maybe we should call this the parable of the arrogant son,
Yeah.
the parable of the prodigal son. The older son was arrogant. His heart was like a rock, judging everyone and considering himself superior to everyone, just like the Pharisees. So who is Jesus really speaking to? The prodigal sons or the arrogant sons? Those of us who have a superior complex and are harsh judges of our neighbors, or those of us who can't control our instincts and urges? There is a third option, after all. The real hero of the parable is not one of the sons, but the father. He is the one who rushed out to welcome the prodigal son unconditionally. He is the one who humbled himself, coming out to reason gently with the angry older son. This parable is about the father. In this parable, Jesus is giving us a portrait of God, who always takes the first step to bring us back into his friendship, no matter how far we may have strayed. This is the merciful Father, because in a fallen world, mercy is God's main characteristic. This concept of mercy is difficult for us to internalize because we live in a sin-filled world and have a fallen human nature. Our human idea of mercy is just not like God's idea. This came out strongly in a Hollywood movie released in 2008, starring the actor Will Smith, called 7 Pounds. In this film, Will Smith plays a scientist named Tim Smith. Tim is driving along the highway with his wife one day, and because he was text messaging, he caused a horrible accident which killed a van load of innocent people and also his wife. He tries to make up for his mistake by helping people who are in need. He uses his own money to pay off their debts, for example, and he even arranges for his organs to be donated to specific people who need them. Spoiler alert. Then he commits suicide, and all those people are helped by receiving his organs. The film shows him getting to know the people he wants to help. He interviews them without their knowing that he wants them to help them. Then if he decides they are good, honest, and worthy enough people, he arranges to help them. This presents an extremely human, fallen world and incomplete view of mercy for 2 reasons. In the first place, Tim concludes that because of the accident he caused, his life is no longer worth living. He thinks there is no mercy great enough to forgive or redeem him. This is not the Christian worldview, but a pagan one. In this view, this world is all there is. There is no hope for redemption. From this point of view, the father in today's parable should not have welcomed back the son. He should have treated him like one of the workers. But secondly, in the film, Tim only helps people whom he considers, quote unquote, worthy. People who are selfish or sinful don't deserve his help. That's a very conditional mercy. But God's mercy is unconditional. We don't have to earn it. How could we ever be good enough to earn the forgiveness of our sins and everlasting life? God offers us redemption, forgiveness, and mercy all the time, and especially when we don't deserve it. That, in fact, is what mercy is all about. Today, God is inviting each one of us to renew this experience of the Father's mercy. Most of us, if we're honest, have to admit that often life's troubles seem to make us doubt God's mercy. We look at ourselves, all our failures and weaknesses, and we think we can't ever become saints. We give up on striving to follow Christ more closely because it seems out of reach. And by ourselves, it is out of our reach. But we are not by ourselves. We are not meant to live out our Christian lives depending on our own efforts alone. Remember, the merciful Father went out to meet the prodigal son, and he went out to meet the arrogant son. The merciful Father is always coming out to meet us, to strengthen us, to renew our souls. He never gets tired of taking the first step, no matter how little we may deserve it. This is the whole reason behind Jesus' incarnation. And this is also the reason behind the sacrament of confession, God's infinite reservoir of mercy. Because we live in a fallen world, we tend to see confession in a kind of negative light. We see it as a mini-torture, something the church invented to keep us in line. But that's not it at all. Jesus has given us this sacrament so that we can experience the Father's mercy all the time, whenever we need it. This sacrament is God's hand reaching out to us, not to punish and destroy, but to embrace, strengthen, and heal, to invite us back into the celebration, to put a ring on our finger and dress us in the beautiful robe of grace. Jesus told this parable because he wanted to communicate the infinite goodness and mercy of the Father. In today's Mass, let's thank him for it, and let's promise that we will give him a chance to let that mercy touch our souls by coming to him in confession.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, that's really good.
It weaves in.
Yeah.
It weaves in mostly the story of the prodigal son, but that's okay. The manna wasn't important.
Yeah, really.
But also the theme of the Year of Mercy and
yeah,
and thinking that we can't do this alone. I'm glad he brought that movie clip in.
The movie attraction is always good.
I've not seen that movie.
Mm-mm.
Just hearing, especially the spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Guess what? That is a pretty sad view of the world.
Yeah.
That in order to make amends, you have to give up your life. Well, that's, Jesus did that once, and that should be it. But, I find it, I'm now I want to see the movie.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
interesting because
absolutely.
You could interpret that movie a completely different way.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but if you have to look at it as, is he really thinking he's now going to lay down his life?
Yes.
Trying to atone, or is he, just think, it's not worth living. I now have to give up my life because other people die, which is a very short-sighted view of mercy.
Right.
So, 7 Pounds is the name of the movie.
7 pounds.
Yeah, it must.
I wonder where that enters in. 7 pounds.
Pounds of flesh.
7 pounds of organs, maybe.
Well, whatever. But no, if it could be something Shakespearean with the pound of,
Shylock. What's his pound of flesh?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So if the number of people that died in the accident was 7, then that would make total sense if that's what it is.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. But not having seen the movie, and I don't have time to look up a synopsis, so.
And I bet there's going to be 3 people Googling that as soon as we finish.
We are now Googling it as we speak. So.
Well, he gave you a synopsis of it. Now you need to see it.
Right. That's true. So I guess I'm going to have to look it up. It's an older movie.
Yeah.
Probably find it on Netflix or Hulu.
That's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yep. That was everybody Googles. Don't Google too much because we would like to hear your reaction to these things. So instead of spending your time Googling, please send us an email with either some reactions to this or what you heard this past weekend. MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com is our address. You can also try to put it up on the website, MondayMorningCatholic.net, in the comment box. I know Nancy had a big fail on that.
I don't blame the website. I blame the internet connection that I had.
No, you can blame the website too. I had a funny problem with the website this week myself. So.
Oh, okay.
So I'll explain in a minute. You can also put it up on Facebook, facebook.com/Monday Morning Catholic. Or if you're really brave, please. You can use the voice feedback line, 774-955-06 59. Or if you want to send an MP3, say you just don't want to sit there and call the Google line, just put it on an MP3 and send it to MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com. We like to hear your voice because we're sick of hearing ours. So there you go. All right. Before we move on to the voice of the people, yes, I had a little problem with the website last week. And it was mostly, I don't think it was the website. I think it was me.
Okay.
Or my computer. See, I have one of these lovely things called a trackpad.
Oh, okay.
And it's a very sensitive little trackpad. And even though I have it, toned down so it doesn't take off on me, sometimes it does. And I had just finished a 2-hour rendering of the, website. I had links, I actually had the time to do it. So I put the links in, I wrote up a nice thing, and I got everything in, and I was moving the arrow to shut down my GarageBand, which happened to be open. Now that's how I work the. Actually, we should just call this segment. Can you hear me? Since I'm doing technology, I was closing up. Usually, I use GarageBand to take our audio portion and run it and clean it up and do all that kinds of stuff. And I was going over to click the red button to shut down GarageBand. It accidentally changed, and in what will happen in Mac is whatever is along the top is your menu, which probably now happens the same thing in Windows. And I happened to go over there, stayed 1 second too long, and it shut the window to the website. Now, since unfortunately Squarespace does not have an autosave,
oh jeez,
I lost the entire. Okay, that made me pretty angry. Pretty angry.
Yes.
It was just like, I was just absolutely off the wall.
Yes.
And then I looked and I said, well, what's important is I get the video and the audio up and we're done. So put the video and audio up and said,
That's it.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I goofed again. So this
All
week,
your hard work down the drain.
well, what I'm going to do this week is since I now have 2 monitors at my disposal
Uh-huh.
on my desk, I'm going to put GarageBand on one and the website on the other, so that does not happen again. But
We live and we learn.
Yes. Yes, we do.
yeah, and and that's, I think, why I have a lot of patience for people when they start, when they do stuff with technology and they get all frazzled. I'm like, look, you can always redo things, and but please save everything when you do.
Yeah.
If I'm working in Pages or Word, it has an auto save,
Yeah.
which is a great thing. But some website and some companies don't do that. You have to physically save the draft, and it doesn't have an auto save.
Yeah.
So
I'm the new person monitoring and maintaining our website. and you can laugh anytime you want to, Joanne.
I'm not gonna say it.
Oh, please do. Go and feel free.
No,
I am such a newbie. Oh my God. I sit there and it's like click, click. Okay. Open another window and say, yeah, update, and let's see if it took. No, it didn't take. Okay, click.
let me ask a question without getting too technical. Is this website, is the host different than the one that was previous there? Is it a different
I believe
host?
so. It's a whole new.
Okay.
It's a whole new website.
All right, so it's one of those really easy, put this here, put this there, and it does its thing?
For somebody who knows what they're doing, it can be easy. I'm still learning, and I think I will forever learn. It's WordPress. No kidding. Because I went to put, as simple as, for those of you who do work this stuff, I went to put something up for our, on the top banner, 1, 2,
Right.
that we have a mission coming up, and I wanted it to be purple, but I could only get the square to be purple. I couldn't get it to stretch. I don't know what I didn't do. I don't know where it is. Okay, fine. I left it. The news is there. It's fine. So then we have videos that I've been changing with luck. But before I left, I changed it again, and it didn't stay in its little box. And I don't know why it didn't stay in the little box. I have no idea what I did, so I couldn't fix it. So there was a link there, so you know what I did? I left it. There was nothing I could do. I don't know. The girl who did this was supposed to send us an update. This was 2 months ago. We just got it while I was on vacation.
Jeez.
And she went in and she saw the two things that I knew were, it's not that they were incorrect, they weren't the way you want them to look.
Yeah, I'm over there right now. I had to jump on to see.
Oh, don't let. Okay.
I was just curious as to what company is this.
She was an independent. She was hired.
Okay.
By somebody. I think she's got her own.
Okay.
Company.
Yeah, it's not one of the like OSV or LPI or any of those. So.
Well, I'm not. No, I don't think so.
No, it isn't.
Not sure what you mean by that, but no.
No.
Those are companies that design websites. No.
Our Sunday Visitor and Liturgical.
Oh no. No.
No.
This is somebody that was recommended to him, and yeah, and so, yeah, and the first time she came and said, and you do this, and you do this, and you do this, and I'm like, my coworker and I was like lapdogs.
Oh, right.
Yeah, fine. Okay, that looks easy. Okay, and then she leaves, and a day later I'm going, what does she say?
What did she say?
I don't remember.
So feel free to get amusement out of this anytime you'd like to.
So, she
knows I know enough to be dangerous and not enough to do anything well. So.
Okay. No, I make no judgment calls.
I know.
I make no judgment calls. Trust me.
So basically that's her setup, and I'm just changing things as
you go along.
As needed. Maintaining the calendar, maintaining things that we want on the banner, maintaining things that are featured items and stuff.
Oh, I understand. Now we probably just bored half of creation trying to talk about it. So
I know. Sorry about that, folks.
There's your technology lesson of the week, folks.
Yes.
All right, last thing up.
The voice of the people.
Yes, the voice of the people for this week. And here's the thing, folks. Like we said earlier, if I put something up on a Sunday, don't expect it to be talking about it the following exactly 24 hours later on Monday Morning Catholic. It will be next week. So we will talk about these didn't even crack 100. So nobody was around last week apparently. But enough so that they give us a little bit of an insight as to what people are thinking. So it's actually a tie, or close thereof, because I think they walk hand in hand anyway. It was an article on the Catholic media response to the now Oscar-winning Best Film Spotlight.
Right.
Did win the Oscar. And it was another article on zero tolerance in the church. And these two really do go hand in hand, because if it wasn't for the crisis,
right,
we would not have these policies and the stringentness of our rules that we have in place now, which tend to, for some reasons, can be merciless. Okay? So first off, the Catholic media response to Spotlight. Saturday night, my husband, it's now that it's on demand. I was able to call up the movie for my husband to see. I had seen it in the theater. The good thing about seeing Spotlight at home is that you can actually stop and discuss if something is, or if you see something that's wrong. Like, we did see something that was wrong, but I don't know if it's the coloring in the film or what. But when they cut to Cardinal Law, played wonderfully by Len Carew, but unfortunately he will always be Henry Reagan or Sweet God to me, okay, which is a real polar opposite type of thing. I noticed the cardinal colors were more bishopy than cardinally. So they're more purple than red. And we went back twice to see what, and they really do look more purple. And I did mention to Kevin, I very rarely see the cardinal red in movies or TV. They seem to go with the purple. I don't know if it's because of film, or if they can't get the permission, or I don't know what it is, but but that's the kind of thing, and that's the most benign thing I can say about the film.
Yeah.
Stopping to check all the liturgical things, but to be able to stop and discuss what's going on, because especially here in the Northeast, all of us who are of a certain age lived this, so we have our own memories, and we have our own, we have our own story
Right.
in watching this. So I was very heartened that Sister Helena Burns, who's a wonderful Paulist sister, Pauline, I can't say Paulist, that's the priest, Pauline, and she also writes movie reviews for Lifetine, said that Spotlight is not, quote, a pseudo-documentary, nor is it a juicy, sensational, exploitive entertainment. It's what I would call an information film. The acting, too, is muted. None of the big-name actors shine. The excellent cast seems to be humbly striving only to serve the story, end quote. She's correct. That is a spot-on definition of what this movie is. What drives this movie is the story, not the actors. And it also is not a, bash the church fest, which is why Cardinal O'Malley is telling everybody not to be afraid, especially in the Archdiocese, to see this film. And in fact, he's encouraging them, see it. It's okay. This happened. Let's try to learn from this. So he took that bold step and did that. Especially, they waited, I think, until it won the Oscar, and then he actually really emphatically said, don't be afraid of this movie. Go on. And I remember when it first came out, he said the same. He told the parish leadership to go see it, in case there were any questions. So, and that's when I saw the movie. And it took me a week to decompress. But on the other side of that whole thing is now a policy that's been in place. So all of us every year, and those of us who work for the church, no matter where you work in the United States, there'll be varying degrees of how you do it, have to go through a background check with or without fingerprints, depending on where you are. And we also have to go for what's called safe environment training. Either once a year, once every 3 years, something like that. We have to sign a code of conduct, and it's very specific. So this other article came up, and this is, what happens in some cases is that if you have something that happens in your childhood, okay, in your teen years, and you decide to get reckless, or in the case, this was not the case with this particular individual. This particular individual that they talked about in the article was someone who is learning disabled, and he went out with friends and they got him drunk. And when he woke up, he saw a policeman shaking him, didn't know what the thing was, and took a swing at him. Well, you take a swing at a cop, and the cuffs come on quickly. You get arrested for assault and battery on a police officer. And you basically get a record. Now, said go a couple of years ahead now. He applies for a job in a Catholic school cafeteria because that's the level of his, that he can do. He's there for 3 days. The report comes back. They have to escort him out. Done. It's over. There is no coming back from this. So now they said, he's been out of work for 5 years. He hasn't worked since. And he's under the care of a mental health counselor and takes antidepressants. Because if he's not being hired for that, no one else is hiring him either. So what is the price of mercy at this point? Does the church become merciful? Because society sure as heck won't. And revisit some of this, or does it continue on a no tolerance, zero tolerance policy of one strike and you're done.
I look at this and I think that this young man had injustice thrown upon him from the very, very beginning. I don't think they ever looked at the situation with the proper perspective and the proper eye. He was a victim from the beginning. He was never a antagonist. And they never looked at that.
Right.
And because of that, he's got a record that needs to be dealt with in a positive fashion. The year of mercy was meant for someone like this child, like this adult,
I agree.
then child.
I totally agree. And there's more out there like him, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
He's not the only one that something like this has happened to.
Sure.
But again, it's a zero tolerance. Why? Because then you have the large vocal piece that sits out there and watches the church and watches for one small false move and then pounces on it like a puma.
And the false move had nothing to do with aggression towards anybody except a situation that wasn't comprehended. He just didn't. He just didn't get. Who in our right mind is
scared
woken
and
up
upset.
absolutely woken up from a sleep after being inebriated in his case, and with a clear head. Excuse me, it doesn't happen.
No.
and the fact that he had special circumstances as far as learning abilities just compounds this thing that they never gave that young man a shot. They never did. They never did.
But there's nothing in the policy that says they can. They've written it so stringently in response to what happened.
I think it needs to be done on a legal level first.
Yeah, I do too. But then is the church going to be told it's being soft? I'm playing devil's advocate.
I understand you are. I think if the church is being called soft, then in this specific instant or like instances, it is a soft that is necessary. I think that this man, he did not hurt anybody. He didn't.
Right.
He did not.
And he certainly didn't endanger any children.
Exactly. And let alone, exactly. And so this is something that is on his record because of the lack of care that he was given. He had no what's the word I'm looking for a special advocate. He did not have an advocate. Whether it was his parents that let him down, whether it was a system that let him down, whether it was a judicial system, the legal, somebody that he was let down on many areas. And that needs to be rectified.
Right. He should never have had to, well, it says the case was adjudicated and he received a year of community service and a fine. But what they should have done was the problem was that he was 18. If he'd been under 18, would have been put under juvenile, right? And they could have expunged it quickly. But somebody could have taken this case up and can we, after a year community service or a certain time of good behavior, can we erase this? So that it doesn't show up on a fingerprint. Because when he took the job, it was 10 years later.
Oh, wow.
And
we're not talking a sequence of
yeah.
Here, we're talking 10 years later. This stuff sticks.
Yeah.
And this is the type of thing, and I can be vocal and people could disagree with me all you want, if that's your right. But the point is, if this isn't settled for this young man, it's going to happen to someone else. It already has, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And someone else, and someone else, and someone else. And the police and the legal system needs to have training for these policemen, because these police officers, you can't expect them to know everything, in dealing with a person who has other capabilities, other abilities, other inabilities. You have to, and the fact that this young man was physically marked, if I'm remembering the article, that the people who got him drunk also marked him up with the marker. So that's a red flag to me. The policeman didn't see any of this.
Right.
That's a red flag to me.
This
is a victim. This isn't a perpetrator.
Right.
I agree with you.
I agree. But what needs to happen now, I think, unfortunately, we're still too close to the whole scandal thing.
Yep.
But what needs to happen now is a refinement of some of this stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
You know,
We're still operating in the knee-jerk.
Yes. You're absolutely right, Linda.
loves to do the knee jerk, but it's against its own policy, its own understanding of the spirit of the law.
Yeah.
You know, the church has always been about the spirit of the law, which is why there's such gray areas all over the place. And Americans are so much on the letter of the law
Yes.
that this, with the whole priest abuse scandal, it has brought us to this crossroad where the church now has to start acting
Yes.
in its lawfulness.
And it has to start acting in reaction to the reaction to
Right, to
the
the
reaction of the people.
Yeah.
And it's a knee-jerk reaction, and so therefore it's much harsher than it really needs to be.
But see, this is why.
See what we're doing? We're doing all this,
Yep.
and this should appease you.
Mm-hmm. Right. But what it should do is take a tip from Spotlight, because while Spotlight did, show what happened, Spotlight also shows you that everyone else dropped the ball.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Police, the Boston Globe, schools,
Yeah.
everybody didn't want to deal with it
Yeah.
and dropped lawyers in the beginning. We're just making these deals with the church to get money for people, and that was it.
Yeah.
That's highly documented. That's not
Yeah.
sure. That's highly documented. So everybody dropped the ball on these kids.
Yeah.
Everyone. So now maybe everyone needs to look at it, look at things differently and work together rather than keep pointing the fingers at the church, making jokes about the priests,
Yes.
which gets old real fast.
Yeah, it does.
And then the other side of every time an allegation comes up, whether it's true or not,
Yeah.
men are sent away.
Yes.
Yes.
And then
So,
nothing
so
happens.
on that level, you're losing priests who, in good faith and good standing, because somebody has
Yes.
Yes.
some sort of an issue,
Yes.
not related or factualized in any way, shape,
And
or form with abuse.
I was actually in a situation where that happened.
Mhm.
Yes.
And-
It's in retaliation. A kid made a false
Mhm.
Yep.
accusation.
And
Yep.
I cannot be objective in that situation because I
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
have that.
I can't. It's very difficult for me to be objective
Yep.
about the whole thing because I've been in both sets of shoes.
Exactly.
By that, I don't mean I've been abused.
Oh,
No.
let's pull that back, please.
I've been involved in it on a parish level, and I've been involved in it at another institution where I worked.
Right.
And
It's
yeah,
And
it's the other side of the zero tolerance, in that you might be achieving what your original goal was, but on the other, you're also achieving the fact that many good men
Yeah.
are being accused.
Yep.
People are looking at this as a way to get back at
yes,
for some other
Other reason.
issue.
And that makes me even madder because
Yes.
these idiots, meaning the abusers, created such a firestorm
yes,
that I want to scream at them
yeah,
causing all of this.
yes,
I'm angry on many different levels,
yes,
and it doesn't get any better.
Nope.
And that's why it took me a week to decompress from watching Spotlight the first time. Because it just brings it all. It brings it up again and
yes,
relive it. And, I was in North Attleboro during the Porter case. That's all I want to say about that.
hey,
North Attleboro working during the Porter case.
yeah,
So I saw it from the very beginning. And I was very young, and it was, couldn't believe this was, and the film brings that out a lot too.
Sure.
People who become lapsed Catholics and now they feel like, they probably would have come back to the church, but now why should they?
yeah,
So it's a whole different thing. So thank you for bringing, again, that up to the forefront. Next week, I'll make sure I don't put anything on Spotlight on the web.
Nothing on Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, because that just doesn't. We have reached the end of another wonderful episode in this lovely podcast.
Woohoo.
What we will tell you before we go away now is that we're not sure what we're doing after next week. We will get to the 5th Sunday of Lent, hallelujah.
Yes.
Okay, and I use the H, not the A,
Yeah.
and which is different. And after that, we are not sure how we're going to deal with Palm Sunday through Easter. Last couple of years, we've done a couple of different things. This year, we're not sure. We don't want to stress everybody out because all of us, including moi, is running around during this season.
Woohoo.
We'll come up with something. We will tell you what it is next week,
Yeah.
so you can watch for it in your feed. But we're gonna take this week to figure out how we want to deal with the next 2 weeks, because we know you understand that we have to be
Yeah. We have to be at our first responsibility.
we have to be at just one.
Yes.
So
And after one of those days, it would be a matter, especially Easter Sunday, that's not going to happen.
No, Easter Sunday is not going to happen. No.
no. That's when we just say,
Yes.
yeah, it's
I
like
think we're tongue-tied now.
yeah, it's just like, we're done. Okay, so if you could please, in your prayers, because I did hear this before we came into here, that Nancy Reagan has passed away.
Yes.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, at the age of 94.
God bless her. Yeah.
Yes, God bless her. So please keep the Reagan family in your prayers. Continue to pray for women who are having difficult pregnancies. We personally have heard a lot.
Yes.
Here at Monday Morning Catholic. Again, pray for persecuted Christians. Continue to pray for all of our elect that are going through this time now as they ramp up for the final hurrah to Easter Vigil. In fact, I'm going to see that again. So
Yes, you are.
I'd love to be part of that. So that was a lot of fun. So again, please, we love your feedback. We love to hear from you. You can't be as busy as we are. So MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com, MondayMorningCatholic.net if you want to leave it on the website, Facebook.com/Monday Morning Catholic, or please call the voice feedback line, 774-955-0659, or you can send your MP3 to MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com. Did I cover everything there?
I think so.
Good. I'm glad. All right, then. We are so glad you could be with us again this week. We hope you're, continue on your Lenten journey. It's almost over. It'll be gone before you know it. You can eat the chocolate again. Okay, so for Joanne Merthier, Linda Reed, and Nancy Smith, thank you for being with us. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you next week, God willing. For now, ciao for now.